Fight fans, it is time for Deep Waters only on ProBox TV, your boxing channel where we take a deeper dive into boxing's top stories. I am George DeMatteis, joined in studio by Chris Algieri, and we also have Showtime Sean Porter and Paulie Malignaggi joining us to talk to one of the most prominent and important promoters in all of boxing. Not only is he the promoter and manager of Sebastian Fundora, but also the promoter and manager of one of the biggest names in boxing, one of the hottest fighters on the planet, David Benavidez. We're joined by Sampson Lewkowicz. Sampson, thank you very much for taking the time to join us here on Deep Waters. How are you doing, sir? How's everything?
Very good. It's my pleasure to be in my home, ProBox TV.
Thank you. Well, let's talk about the Fundora and Tim Tszyu. How real is the possibility of a rematch between those two?
Well, I give my word, and my word is a bond. And for 30 years, I comply with that. So the rematch will happen when both of them is ready to fight again.
Yeah, Sampson, can you speak to that? Can you speak to the injury sustained by Sebastian during the fight? You know, there are reports that he broke his nose and will be out of the ring until September, maybe even November. How damaged is the nose, and what are the doctors saying?
Well, it will not come back before November, because the father, Freddy Fundora, said that the most important is the health of his boxer and son. So it will not happen before November. I'm not a doctor. I didn't talk about the injury, but this is the decision of the doctor of the Commissioner of Nevada.
Sampson, both guys had bad injuries in the fight. It seems like both would probably be suspended for a while, and both would be out of action. Would this rematch be immediate rematch? Would there be fights in between and they rematch later? Because obviously a rematch, if it's not called for immediate rematch, can also happen at different times. When you say there's a rematch for the fight, are you discussing that for later, coming back from the injury? Would there be an in-between fight? Would there be a direct rematch? What are your thoughts?
Well, the suspension for Tszyu is not so bad. He can fight in June, July, because the cut what he have in the head is not so severe like it can be in the nose. Because even though if you fix, or surgery or whatever in the nose, you need to have time, maybe 3, 4, 5 months only to heal correctly. I'm not a doctor, but this is what
did Fundora suffer fractured nose, Sampson?
I don't know if it's a fracture or it's a. I'm not a doctor. I saw the bleeding, but I don't know exactly what it is. I didn't spoke
because of 6 months.
That's what he said. The commission.
Yeah, because a 6-month suspension for a nosebleed, I'm assuming it has to be fractured for a 6 month.
I imagine 6 months.
Yes. 6 months for a suspension for a nosebleed is not normal unless there's a fracture. I'm assuming.
Yeah, but I don't have the doctor. Besides, we have the official doctor of the commissioner, but I don't have any other doctor. And now he's in the mountains, enjoying his winning with his sister and the father and the whole family.
Yeah, real quick, keeping this conversation with Fundora and the injury in the corner. How was everything in the corner? That was the most blood I'd ever seen in one boxing match, especially that soon in a boxing match. He came out every round looking comfortable, looking like he was ready to operate. Was he just as comfortable in the corner in between rounds, or was there some, discomfort there because of the bleeding?
Both fighters bleeding, and I'm very surprised of Paulie Malignaggi, that is my friend, my amigo, blame everybody, and he forgot that he was a fighter, and I saw him so many times. I saw him so many times that he bleed, and the referee told him, "You want to continue?" I never remember that he said, "No, I don't want to continue."
Sampson, con todo el respeto, Sampson, you never saw a video with me, my face full of blood like that. Cuts are part of boxing.
No, not like that, but you was bleeding.
Cuts are part of boxing, always. We know this, but never. You cannot find the video where my face is full of blood.
No, but I'm pretty sure that if we tell you the referee of the doctor, you want to continue or you want to
Yeah, of course,
Give up.
Samson.
You will never. Your heart
I always said,
is the bond too.
Samson.
So don't tell
Well,
me
you,
that
you,
it was a
Samson,
mistake.
Samson, you know, as fighters, we always gonna say yes. But you remember, Diego Corrales wanted to continue against Joel Casamayor, but Mara Goodman said, no, you're not continuing, you're done. And she stopped the fight. A doctor has a job. A doctor is supposed to supersede the decision of the fighter. A fighter is always gonna want to fight. That's the job of the fighter. So, of course, myself and anybody else would say continue, just like Tim Tszyu was saying, yes, I want to continue. But the doctor is there. Otherwise, what's the point of the doctor in the corner? Just to hang around? Charge him. Otherwise, you can charge the doctor for a ticket. Charge the doctor for a ringside seat there.
Look, about Corrales and Castillo.
Yeah.
So,
Corrales,
and you want
yes,
Corrales.
but nobody's bleeding there. Samson, nobody's bleeding. You have some great fights. Even Gotti Ward, you have some great fights, of course. But we're talking about blood, and we're talking about you cannot see. You cannot see. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a different thing. You know,
I don't believe he said I cannot see. Because if you say that,
any fighter is gonna say that. Any fighter is gonna say you can see. Of course, we all lie. We have to lie to ourselves. We're fighters, you know. But the doctor, that's the doctor's job. Otherwise, if it was always up to the fighter, you're gonna fight or you're not gonna fight. What do you need a doctor for? You don't need a doctor. The point of the doctor is to make a better decision than the fighter, to make the safer decision. Because if you leave it up to the fighter, 99% of the time the fighter is gonna want to fight. So the doctor has a job to understand, medically speaking, if it's safe or if it's not safe.
Okay,
I just felt like there was too much blood. Samson.
Buddy,
I felt like Tim
you're a
Tszyu.
doctor.
I'm not, but I've bled
How
in
you
fights
can say that it was too much blood?
because
Sorry.
I've never seen
And you know
somebody.
that I love you, but you cannot know
Samson,
more and the
But Samson,
doctor.
I had blood
Samson,
on my face.
let me ask this question.
Let me put it this way before we continue. The suspension for Tszyu is till May. The suspension for that he bleed, but not so much, for Fundora is in September. So he must know the doctor something that is not so dangerous.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking you if Fundora's nose is broken, because there's no way you're gonna have a 6-month suspension unless you have a broken nose. You know what I'm saying? So Tim Tszyu also broke Fundora's nose in the first 2 rounds. This is proof that the fight was kind of one-sided, and I'm happy for Fundora. They're a good family, a good people. Listen, he does his job. If you're allowed to continue, you're gonna fight, right? That's what Fundora did. Hey, the doctor doesn't stop the fight. That's my job, is to fight. So Fundora has to do his job, and he wins a deserved world championship. And it's congratulations to him. He's a deserved good kid. You know, that's all I want to see. I would love to see the rematch. That's why I asked you if the rematch would be immediate, if it will be later.
Hold on, guys. Let's take a quick break. Samson, hold that thought. Samson, hold that thought. Yeah. We'll get your answer after the break. We got to take a quick break. When we return, we'll have more with Sampson Lewkowicz here on ProBox TV. Welcome back to Deep Waters here on ProBox TV. All right, Sampson, before we left, you had something to say. I want you to finish your thought now. Go ahead, sir.
Well, I'm getting old. I forgot about it. No, what I'm saying that Tszyu want to fight in June, July, so it will not happen immediately. And in boxing, you never know. It was a 5-1 or 4-1 underdog, and he won. So you never know with who will face, and whoever face, if he lose, definitely will not be a rematch, most likely.
Samson, there was a big fish sighting, and that's Errol Spence. Immediately after the fight, he came in the ring. There was talks about him all week coming to come and watch the fight, looking to fight the winner. Now, oftentimes when we see things in public, there's already been a lot of talks behind the scenes. Has there have been any talk of Errol Spence Jr. for the winner, which obviously now is your guy Fundora?
Well, in that moment, even I raised the hands of both of them in the ring. And then I forgot that I give my word of the rematch, and I apologize and I told him sorry. You know, so that is kind of funny.
So we're here with Sampson Lewkowicz, the promoter and manager of both Sebastian Fundora and David Benavidez. All right, Sampson, let's talk about David Benavidez, because he is a fighter that we all are huge fans of, and we spoke to him here before on ProBox TV. We know he has the fight against Gvozdyk next. What's the future for Benavidez when it comes to how you view it after the Gvozdyk fight?
Well, I say that when he asked $150 million, Canelo, it'd be very difficult to get that kind of money. However, at least we know the price. And in that case, you need to see how he's doing in 175 and light heavyweight. After the fight, he will make. You have 2 weeks or 10 days to make a decision to be the mandatory for Canelo again, the final mandatory, or for the winner of Big Ball and and the
Beterbiev.
other
And better
Beterbiev,
BF. Yeah.
Beterbiev. So it will make the decision. It's not about a business only. It's what you want to do. By the way, I believe that I got very tired already to with the Canelo. I say no más Canelo,
Okay.
and Benavidez, he got tired too. So let's see. Look, this decision is only by Benavidez.
Sampson, my question is this: have you petitioned the sanctioning bodies in any way? I remember Mike Tyson had to pay $4 million to Lennox Lewis in order to make him step aside. At this point, Benavidez has been stepping aside for free for this mandatory, and nobody strips Canelo. The WBC doesn't strip Canelo. Nobody strips Canelo, and Benavidez is not being compensated for having to step aside. Have you even thought about requesting step aside money at least? Since you don't have a choice, the guy's not going to fight you, and they're not going to strip him. Don't you think he should at least be forced to pay step aside money to David, the way Tyson did to Lennox back then?
Yeah, I asked David. David, he won the glory. He doesn't care about the money and doesn't care
But he's
about
not going to
pay.
get the fight anyway. You know that. So make the guy pay money at least.
But he doesn't want to be like the others. He doesn't want to step aside. He make a good money in every fight, and he's this kind of guy that he want a glory. People doesn't understand. And the worst thing he can do, Canelo, to say that he's looking for a payday when he accept $5 million when he requests $150 million. So he want to look. He want to be different of anyone, and I cannot change it. I'm the promoter only,
And
and yeah.
What you just said, basically, if I'm understanding you correctly, David does not want the step aside money because he wants to remain the mandatory. He wants to force the fight, even if Canelo's going to avoid him. So I just want to put a message out there for the Canelo Clown Crew, the Triple C's. We call them the Triple C's here at ProBox TV, the Canelo Clown Crew. It's all his supporters who lie about all of this. You see, David Benavidez not only wants to fight Canelo, he's refusing to even accept step aside money, so he remains the mandatory. This is an absolute duck of a fight. I've never seen somebody duck a guy like this in my life. Go ahead.
Yeah, and let me tell you, if you take whatever, $1 or $1 million, he lose the shot to be the real mandatory. That is a part of the, I see many fighters that is, like he take a step aside, but then he lose the leverage to say I'm the mandatory again, and say about the $1 million that you put in your pocket or the dollar.
But either way, like you're saying, Sampson, he's gonna have to decide if he's gonna be the mandatory. If he beats Vosdik, he's gonna have to decide if he's gonna be the mandatory for the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol, if he's gonna remain the mandatory for Canelo. At that point, it's probably easier to become the mandatory for the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol because at least the winner of that fight will fight him. Canelo, you're gonna be the mandatory. This guy's never gonna fight you, right? I mean, am I positioning that correctly?
No, but maybe. Look, this is boxing. He can lose the fight, and he finishes his career. And then, and if Munguia, he can win the fight. And then Benavidez, he can fight Munguia, definitely. It'll be easy fight to make it. Now it's a fight. If he beat Canelo, it's a fight. The situation it will be that he will take his title, and he be a champion in 168, and then he go and he fight in 175.
Well, at this point, you have to root for Munguia to win the fight, so you can get the super middleweight title. Because this guy,
I like Jaimito. Let me make a joke of Jaimito joke.
At this point, there's nothing. Otherwise, the weight class stays frozen unless Munguia wins. Okay.
But I strongly believe that the president will strip him if he decides to fight Canelo. He cannot go any longer.
Let's say Benavidez beats Vosdik, then faces the winner of Beterbiev Bivol and he wins that fight. I know it's projected long out. You talk about a year, 2 years, who knows? And he becomes undisputed at 175. Does that force the hand maybe of Canelo to fight him because he's a undisputed champion? What do you think of that scenario? I know it's a crazy scenario, but what do you think about that?
I say all the time, he will never fight Benavidez. He will never fight him.
It kind of is what it is, but Sampson, I know you've been working with David Benavidez for an extremely long time, upwards to the beginning of his career. At the beginning of his career, when you signed him, I know you saw potential, but did you see this potential, or has he just evolved beyond anybody's imagination?
I say when I sign it, you will be the youngest super middleweight champion in the world, and he's in the book of gainers. So
He's in a
all what I feel about him, he come true.
he's in a record books for that.
Yeah,
So they said in Donnie Brasco. He's in a record books for that.
that's correct.
Yes, sir.
So you know,
How's,
look, it's so hard to have guys like him, or including Gabriela Fundora. We have the same situation with her. Nobody want to fight her. Nobody want to be in the ring with Gabriela Fundora. So this is my life. The same thing happened with Sergio Maravilla Martinez. Nothing it was easy for him too, and he was an interim champion for a long time too. But in the end of the day, each one it will be in the in the Hall of Fame in Canastota.
Sampson, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate you coming through, and good luck to you and Sebastian and Gabriela and David Benavidez as well. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. God bless you.
Samson, con todo el respeto, Samson.
Con todo respeto. Time for a quick break here on Aguas Profundas. Deep Waters on ProBox TV. Welcome back, everyone, to Deep Waters. Very interesting conversation, great conversation with Sampson Lewkowicz, the promoter of David Benavidez and Sebastian Fundora. All right, Paulie, what did you make? What were some of your thoughts and reactions to what Sampson said regarding either Fundora or Benavidez, and especially Benavidez when it connects to the Canelo Alvarez fight?
I think it's he said it very clearly. Canelo is never going to fight them. He's kind of given up on the idea of Canelo fighting them. And he's trying to work out other methods in order to keep Benavidez not only relevant but also active. I think it's very key that he said they refuse to hope to get step aside money. They didn't need, because they could easily petition to get step aside money since Canelo won't fight them. They could easily petition that, and they won't do it because they want to remain. They want to keep their feet on his neck and remain the mandatory position. After Beterbiev and Bivol fight, if Benavidez beats Vazdik, he has the option to make himself the mandatory for the winner of that fight instead. Who knows? Maybe he gets sick of waiting for Canelo and chooses the mandatory route for Benavidez and Bivol, for Beterbiev and Bivol, at which point then he would be removed as a mandatory position from Canelo. For the Canelo clown crew, that does not mean Benavidez now is trying to avoid Canelo, because I know what these clowns say. They will make up anything in their minds to make that up. Okay, so no. Once he does that, he will be removed as the mandatory for Canelo, but that is only because this guy is running from him like we've never seen a fighter run from a mandatory before in our entire life. So I think that pretty much his frustration with the whole thing was very obvious.
And Sean, what do you make of what Sampson's comments regarding what he said there throughout the course of our chat?
Yeah, absolutely. I've known Sampson for a number of years now. He's always been a sharp guy, sharp when it comes to the X's and O's of boxing, and then also sharp when it comes to the business of boxing. One of the few people in boxing that I know that can actually blend the two and be successful with both. You know what I mean? It's you got guys who have high skill, but the business is down here for them and you never get a chance to see them. You know what I mean? So he's got Gabriela Fundora, the Fundora family, and he's got David now. I mean, David's already where he needs to be, and to hear him say he's struggling to get Gabriela in the ring with anyone is nothing short of surprising to me. I mean, she's an absolute talent. So, to what Chris said earlier, he has an eye for talent. And he gets these kids young. It'd be different if he was signing champions. Like, he's signing young athletes, and they're becoming very, very good in the sport. So, if anything, I just want to show all respect and love to what he's been able to do and who he's ever been able to bring up in the pro ranks and make champions and stars out of these young athletes. So, I just want to salute Sampson, if anything.
Yeah, definitely much respect to Sampson there. All right, Chris, anything that Sampson said that stood out for you? Anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he said he's a man of his word, and I believe him. It sounds very true. Yeah. So this right here, I've been very optimistic, right? I've been very optimistic about Canelo and Benavidez. This is my last shred of optimism. Fight ain't happening, guys. It hurts my heart to say it, Paul. You've been saying it the whole time. You said Sampson said he wasn't going to fight. There it is. I mean, he said it. You heard it out of his mouth. He said Canelo Alvarez will never fight David Benavidez. I have to believe it now. So that was it. My last shred of optimism. I'm done now.
Done.
They've tried every method. They've tried everything.
They were moving the right way, Paulie. They were moving. They made all the right moves. But listen, if a guy don't want to fight, he don't want to fight.
We'll see what happens. All right, quick break here on Deep Waters. We'll have more on the other side. Paulie, what's next for Fundora and what's next for David Benavidez as we wrap it up here on Deep Waters?
Well, for Benavidez, it's easier to predict. He's fighting Bostic, but I think he's going to probably choose the mandatory route of Beterbiev and Bivol, unless Munguia upsets Canelo. If Munguia upsets Canelo, then he knows he'll probably be able to make that fight with Munguia, and he'll choose Munguia. He knows Canelo's going to keep ducking him, so if Canelo beats Munguia, I think if he beats Vosdik, he probably just ends up choosing to go the mandatory route for the winner of Beterbiev and Bivol, and that will then relinquish his mandatory position in the super middleweight division, and Canelo can be free of Benavidez once and for all at that point. For Fundora, I don't know. I see Sampson said he'd give a rematch, but again, he wouldn't commit to the immediate rematch. He kept talking about injuries and whatnot, and so I'm not sure. I'm not totally convinced that Fundora doesn't do a fight in between them for a big money fight, possibly against a Crawford or something like that. Who knows? And then, obviously, even if he gets a loss, the Tszyu rematch is always there because he beat Tszyu. I could also see that happening. I'd rather see an immediate rematch, but I didn't see Sampson committing to the immediate rematch when I tried to get that out of him.
I like that, Paulie, when you read in between the lines. I did the exact same thing. Yeah. You read in between those lines right there. They know that there's a rematch that's put in place. But we know the business of boxing, man. If something bigger is down the line, especially financially, economically, you go for what's bigger and better. I like the rematch. I really don't know whether or not the rematch is necessary. However, I actually could see them taking a fight with Errol Spence Jr. Once he heals up and things like that. He's got some time, and even with that, I'll respect if you don't want to reveal what the injury is, but I mean it's quite clear that the injury is a broken or a fractured nose, something much more serious that takes 6 months to heal, opposed to the 2 months, 1 month, 2 months that you would typically get. And for Benavidez, even though I've been on record for saying the fight between Benavidez and Canelo Alvarez never happens, I'm also going to go on record for saying Benavidez is going to stay put. He's gonna wring that rag until it's completely dry.
Keep his foot on his neck.
And then if it ain't dripping, and then he'll move on. But I think that they should. You keep your foot on his neck, and you make sure that once he's walking away, that everybody understands that he's the one that wouldn't allow this fight to happen. So that's what I expect to happen for Benavidez, and he's got Russian ahead of him. So I wonder if this fight might be a little more challenging than some of the few of his previous fights. We'll see.
All right, Chris, what do you think? What's next for both fighters?
I'm going to keep it short and direct. I don't think we ever see Benavidez at 68 again. I think he's in a campaign at 75 from now on. I think we're going to see Tszyu back in the ring soon. Actually, it's probably him and Bohocek. I wouldn't be surprised if they bring that over to Australia. Ooh. And I think Fundora is going to fight Crawford in the fall.
Okay. It's Crawford in the fall.
I think so. Ooh. I think it makes a lot of sense for Crawford to go down, get a unified champion. So you can now pick up 2 belts in a 4th weight class.
Right.
Makes a lot of sense for Crawford to do that, and the fight's it's right around the corner, basically.
Anyway, thank you for watching us here on Deep Waters. Remember, Monday through Friday here on ProBox TV, your boxing channel. Download the app and like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Take care, everyone.